So I've been gone for a little while. I'm so sorry for that. I'm gonna try to upload every 2 weeks, but last 2 weeks ago I was out of town and had to show you guys in the Corvette. Just starting the video out in the Corvette. But yeah, a week and a half ago I was out of town in DC. I'll probably put some of the plane footage out because I've been on plenty of plane rides, but it's still pretty fun. So here you go. Back. So this video is going to show you guys a little bit about the different modes and just driving abilities of the C7 Corvette that we're in right here. And the engine light's only on because the car isn't fully on. Just have all the electronics on at the moment. So we're going to start with touring, of course, but I'm going to show you guys a little bit about each individual driving mode, capabilities, cylinder deactivation, a little bit about that, and I take it out for you guys and show you out on the road, but it is a little muddy. The roads are a little wet, so we'll save that for another video. But until then, let's keep it in the garage or for a little while and just show you guys a little bit about what's going on. Let's start with touring. So touring is your most basic type of mode. It is for like cruising around the town. Your valves are closed until I believe like 2,500 RPMs. Correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong, somewhere in that RPM range when the flaps open up, and that's when the exhaust full goes out, all 4 pipes of course, and you're not going to have like that crazy sound until you reach that RPM range. So that's going to keep you down, and that's more like a steady cruising type of deal. And moving on to track mode. So track mode, that's probably your most aggressive mode. That is for that takes off a ton of the traction control. The rear end is going to get very loose, very easily. I've done it plenty of times where I'll just tap the gas and I'll end up sideways, and it's very fun. Very something to get used to. Be careful with, because this car will spin the tires very easily or take you sideways very easily. So keep that in mind. Be very careful when using track mode. But it also is very fun. Opens up all the valves for the quad exhaust. All of your horsepower is available at any range. So that's probably your funnest, most aggressive mode setting here. And I don't know if you guys know, but here is the mode selector. You go left and right, traction controls in the center, and of course your park, reverse, neutral, drive, manual, and your parking brake. So back to the different modes, and let's go over to sport mode. Sport mode, it's a little bit more tame, a little bit more for just taking off, having a great time. Not so much for track usage. I mean, of course you could use in track, but that's up to you. That's track mode for that. But sport mode, for when you want to maybe blast through the city a little bit, make some noise, have some fun with your Corvette. Let all your valves are open the entire time, making plenty of noise, having fun, going maybe high speeds, low speeds. It still sounds good at cruising. One thing I don't too much like about the exhaust, and this is in any mode, mainly sport and track, once you get to your cruising speed, exhaust kind of cuts out, which, I mean, some people like it quiet, some people don't, but I prefer to have a rumble while I'm cruising. But really the only rumble you're going to get is when you're climbing the RPMs or climbing speed. So be mindful of that when you're going to purchase a Corvette. Great feature for some. Others would prefer it to stay a lot nicer of a rumble throughout your cruising speeds. But so guys, comment down below if you guys prefer my GoPro over my Canon, because sometimes when I'm doing in-car type videos, my GoPro is a lot clearer, especially when looking at gauge clusters. So guys, let me down below if you prefer the GoPro over the Canon. Back to the video. So Now we're going to talk a little bit about eco mode. So eco mode, here's where cylinder deactivation comes in. So cylinder deactivation, that's when we're obviously deactivating cylinders. So as we all know, there is a V8 motor up there pushing out 450 horsepower. So in cylinder deactivation, instead of running on all 8 cylinders, you're only running on 4. Now, of course, the computer is going to decide and know which cylinders are getting used more than the others. So it's going to deactivate the ones that are getting used a little more, activate the ones that aren't getting used as much. So each cylinder has an equal amount of wear and tear for it, because it wouldn't make really any sense if you have 4 cylinders being used every single time. Like, of course, those are going to get more wear. So Chevy's obviously thought that through. For each time you use cylinder deactivation, different 4s getting deactivated or reactivated to keep it nice and even. So that's more for when you're maybe going on a road trip and just cruising on interstates. You're not really doing any pulls. You're not really getting too excited with the exhaust, because the valves are closed on eco mode, so you're only pushing out 2 exhaust pipes. And so it's going to be nice and quiet, cruising around, maybe going through the neighborhood, going on a Sunday stroll, who knows. And you can do anything with it, especially being in a convertible. People love taking convertibles out around downtown. It's just fun enjoying. So eco mode, that's pretty. We're in eco at the moment, so we're gonna switch over to the left and get into weather mode. Weather mode, pretty self-explanatory. More for when it's pouring rain outside, roads are slick, wet, snowy weather, things of that nature. Weather mode's going to keep the Corvette quiet with only 2 pipes open, because chances are you're not really going to be doing too much having fun with the exhaust in the more substantial weather, like water when it's pouring down rain or when it's snowy outside. Charleston had their first snow day. In case you didn't know, I am from Charleston. This is Charleston, South Carolina. We don't see snow too often, but we did have our first snow day in a very long time, and I believe this is the highest amount of snow we've gotten in over 10 years. But yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Another cool thing that I thought I'd share with you is when you first crank up your Corvette, it's going to start in eco mode. So let's say I just hop in the Corvette, or I mean touring mode, excuse me. Let's say I just hopped in the Corvette, I want to turn the Corvette on. It's going to start in touring mode. An interesting thing that I learned, if you'd like to maybe start your Corvette in front of a crowd, maybe show some guys like, hey, I have a cool exhaust too, get in the car, don't put your foot on the brake. Don't put your foot on the brake. Hold down the engine start stop button, and that'll turn all your electronics on. That gives you the ability to go in your vehicle, switch over to maybe a more aggressive mode and track. Here you go. Yeah. See how we're starting in track mode? Definitely sounds much better. Pretty easy way to make your Corvette sound start a lot louder. That's for the people who would prefer to maybe start their vehicle in a track mode instead of starting it with only 2 cylinders active. So let's get a couple revs in before we end the video, because that pretty much ties it up. So also, another cool thing is I love that when you get pretty high in the RPMs, it turns red, letting you know, hey, you're getting pretty close to that 7,000. So let's, yeah. So that pretty much does it for this video. Like and subscribe down below. And I'm also doing a thing where I sell t-shirts for $15, PAD t-shirts, and I'm also doing key tags in the future. So if you're interested in either of those, I'll insert a picture of the remove before flight tag. But PAD, we're thinking about doing a PADesignss key tag, and I will sell these for $5. They'll be black on the outside with white stitching. So if you're interested in either a PAD tag or a PAD shirt, comment down below and let me know. I can ship them out to different states, anything like that. So don't forget to check me out on Instagram, like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys later.